6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. It's been a while since we've done a live show. You've seen all the videos have been flying out, so thank you for everyone for watching them. But we've got a great show lined up tonight. We're going to review the season. It's basically just going to be like a pub-like chat, you know, talking to some great guys who we haven't seen on the screen for a long time. So I'm really looking forward to doing it. Before we do all that rubbish though, let's do the even worse rubbish. Hit the subscribe button. Become a member if you want to. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diacro. We love these guys. Link is in the description. 20% off for all viewers. And then also don't forget about Football Prizes, an absolute amazing little company who do amazing prizes. And they also do cash prizes, everything. Loads of different football clubs as well. So please consider helping them out. Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. Let's start getting the guests in because we've got quite a few tonight, which makes a change, doesn't it? John's back.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm great.
Yes.
Quick change and everything's good.
Wait, I just noticed that.
Yeah.
We're behind the stage and everyone else is wearing black and white apart from John. And now Gary's going to be the only one who's not wearing black and white. So
I was going to show you that I'm starting to wear my Adidas. I'm buying Adidas.
Yes.
I'm getting ready for the new year.
Gary's just got a receipt. I bet he's going to go and find a black and white shirt. We have royalty in the house.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Bruno.
Oh, that works for everyone else but me. I'm going to bring Gary in last because he's disappeared. Let's bring you in. Ian.
How are you doing?
I've lost my.
You've lost your power to be able to do all that, haven't you? I don't know why.
Must only happen through the season, Dan.
Yeah. John can do it. There we go, John. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I learned something. If you click up top on the box that says Google Expressions or something like that, and it starts to work. Yeah, there's up on the top, the top bar. There's something that Google has that turn expressions on or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to find it.
Yeah, me too.
It's like a little.
Gary's gone for a quick change.
Woo-hoo! All right.
I couldn't be the odd one out, could I? To be honest,
wearing black and white.
It's been a bit unlucky, this shirt, for us, because I got Sven Botman on it, and ever since I got Botman on, he's been out. So I thought, I haven't wore it all season. I've had my blue one on, so I've got it back out, though, because I couldn't be the odd one.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
I feel like I jinxed us on the Man United game because I wore a home top instead of an away top. And I always wear away and home for home. It's always been a thing. So, my fault, guys. It's dreadful but sunny down here in the farm in rural. That's in Canada, isn't it?
Ontario in Canada. Yep.
Yeah, in Canada, yeah. What's the weather like in America?
Right now, it's bright and sunny in California. I could tell you that.
Yeah. Gee. It's been pissing down here, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's just fucking typical.
That's
pretty
Apart
hot.
from Ian looks like he's just coming back from Cyprus.
No, I told you, mate. The colours I go is ridiculous. Last weekend in the garden just took it to a different level.
The garden in Cyprus.
Oh, the wife prays for rain. Put it that way.
Right. Hey, Robbie, congratulations again on winning the FA Cup, as much as it fucking pains us to say that. But, these things happen. There's still the slimmest of slim chances we could get Europe, guys, if Chelsea decide to take a one-year ban on FFP. If they take the one-year ban, then potentially it could come to us. But I don't know what the rules are. Does anyone know what the rules are?
Well, why don't we just take the 1-year ban right now and spend a whole lot on this window, huh?
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem we got with that, though, there is also the regulations of the Premier League as well, I suppose, which are changing next summer, aren't they? But it's really, really frustrating. The actor Europe.
I mean, if Chelsea are going to do it, they're going to do it now.
Well, yeah, because it's the Europa Conference, and it's not much of a. Yeah, I would understand them doing that.
Do you know when you put your faith in other people's hands, when you've had it in your own hands to do the job anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you do we really deserve to be in the Europa? No, because we should have done it ourselves.
Yeah.
And to be honest, when we're all watching an FA Cup final, what we're not even involved in, and to get that emotionally involved and to come away from it that we're not in, and Man United turn up and put a performance on like that, come on. You look at that Nottingham Forest game at home, you look at Luton at home, there's so many games where we could have done it ourselves, and to rely on others, we should have done it Newcastle United way, not getting in the back door the other way.
Do you know the one game that never get mentions much, and it's the one that stands out like a sore thumb for me, was Everton at home.
Yeah.
Everton at home, should have won that game, 2 points.
Dummett's rugby tackle with 5 minutes to go. That stands out to me like every other game, because that we win that and we're in Europe.
Do you know another thing?
We were all there as well, weren't we, guys?
Do you know another thing as well, guys? Right, when you because Twitter's so toxic, and what we try to do, what Newcastle fans do as well, is we've got to remember when we threw the salt in Arsenal's wounds about when they brought up the Willock situation where they kept the ball in, and then Joe Linton the push at the back, and then we go, well, we cost you the title. Have a guess what
we did.
Now it's reversed, and you've just got to be careful what you wish for. And like I've said, to rely.
We didn't cost Arsenal the title, though, did we? Because if everyone does the maps, there'll still be a point short.
But a lot of Newcastle fans are still putting that out there that was the cause. Now, we as Newcastle United supporters, and we should have had that European slot sorted before relying on an FA Cup win.
Yeah. If you also look at what the results that Gary mentioned, we could have actually got top 4. We're only 8 points behind, Bella.
In a season where, again, where I've seen Eddie Howe out, this is ridiculous what I'm seeing over the weekend again. Just because Man United win an FA Cup, people's calling for Eddie Howe's head again. Now you've just knocked the nail on the head there. We could have finished top 4. Now, with an injury-plagued season, what we've had, that man and his backroom staff has done an absolutely incredible job to get us anywhere near even going into an FA Cup final, hoping to get into Europe. And this is what Newcastle United fans have got to realise, how lucky we have such a man. In that's so many managers, I think, would have walked away from Newcastle United this season of what kind of cards he's been dealt with, mind. And to get us, like I say again, to repeat what I don't
think anyone walks away from this, though, do they? I mean, I don't think anyone walks out of a job, but I think the best way of explaining it is that he would. Another manager maybe wouldn't have done as well as he did.
Right. How many times has Eddie Howe turned to a training session and went, I've got 17, 18 first-team players to work on something going into a weekend? He's had a skeleton crew for, I would say, 75% of the season, mind, where he couldn't even put a full training session on. Never mind.
Absolutely agree.
Never mind. So for him to prepare for games week in, week out, to get us at a sniffing chance. We've had Europe in our hands like that, and it's been took away from us. But you can see in so many ways why it has been took away from us. And I just think he's done a remarkable job, mate. You know, it's absolutely. I was frustrated yesterday because I've seen probably one of the first 45 minutes, one of the worst cup finals I've seen. A team sitting so deep, not wanting to just to go on the counter-attack. And Manchester City plays so poorly. The possession passing percentages were terrible. Right? And that just doesn't happen. And when this is what I'm saying as a Newcastle United fan, getting so involved in a game that hasn't
nothing to do with us, but it did, didn't it? That's the thing.
And then when you're watching the passes go astray, you automatically come a Newcastle United fan, and then you start going, Jesus Christ, Pep out, Silver out, you know. And it was just, you know, it's one of them for
I
me.
was 40 now watching that game. I thought it
God.
was absolutely terrible. And this is
Bernardo
leading up to a
Silva.
Euros as well. This is
Bernardo
leading up to a
Silva.
Euros.
Shocking, right? And
Well,
look,
that was his last game as well for City, wasn't it? Yeah, I expected him to be on fire.
right, and the broad Docker one, right? Because
Brilliant.
I just don't understand, but it took him. He
I
only
thought
went past.
he was the only bright spark. He was the only bright spark
past
when
one
he
for
came on.
Saka, I think, twice, Bar's mind, right?
Oh, he went past him more than that, mate. He definitely did.
I don't understand where he brings Docker on. He does exactly the same as what Grealish does. He's just feints, he feints, and comes back inside. He frustrates the life out of me. He's another Samaxa man for me. And Manchester City must be going absolutely berserk because I think there's so much more from that kind of player. But that's for me.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only bright spark when he came on, though. He got them back in the game. He was attacking them. Everything was better when he was playing compared to what was the first half. Yeah, I get what you mean. But he was also doubled up on, remember. So he was trying to get rid of the ball quickly as well as get past his man at times.
Ganacho kept dropping in to double up and he kept coming inside. But for me, I would have took Silva off and put Docker on that side and brought Grealish on that side. Because
I would have brought both of them on.
He would have just probably played exactly the same as Grealish on that side. But
I would have brought Alvarez on at half time as well.
But that's the cup final was poor for me, and especially when Man United won. It was
probably the second worst one I've ever seen.
What was the other?
But here's the upside, guys.
Last year.
Here's the upside. The upside is this may have saved Ten Hag his job, and we get to take points off him again next season.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I love it, Dan.
I always have to find the positive.
Yeah, well, of course you do. The worst FA Cup final ever was Man United 0, Liverpool 1. Sorry, Liverpool 0, Man United 1. Cantona scored that volley in the 90th minute, and it was the worst game of football I ever saw in my life.
Oh, that was the Liverpool white suit, wasn't it?
Yeah. Robbie Fowler and all them. Yeah. That was the worst game of football I've ever seen. I think there was only the one shot on goal. Oh, it was terrible, the white suits they were wearing. They looked like Mark says, thank you for talking sense. I'm absolutely sick to death of the so-called fans and channels slagging off Eddie and the boys. What do people bunch of ungrateful bastards? I mean, I'm not going to slag off other channels because I don't like doing it, and it happens to me all the time, and I'm not going to react or do anything like that. But you are right. It's not just channel. It's just normal fans. It's fans who have got so optimistic because we finished in the Champions League place last season. They think we can just do it again this season and next season. I think it's a given. It's a bit like Man City walking out to that FA Cup final thinking they just needed to turn up to beat Man United. Football doesn't work like that. And we've had a horrible long season, ups and downs, don't get me wrong, which we're going to talk about. But Eddie Howe has been unbelievable, like Ian said. I agree with everyone else in this panel agrees it. Eddie Howe is the man to take us forward, and I'm sick of hearing people tweet to me, you're just an Eddie Howe fanboy, you're just this, you're a sheep because you're following. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, go on, Dan.
The only people that need slagging off are the medical staff. Right now, that's it. I mean, with the injury list that we are above the next team in days missed by over 250 days.
Yeah.
You know, when you compare that to everybody else in the league, we have missed more days due to injury. We haven't had the most injuries. We had 41, and I can't remember who had 43.
So total days lost in Premier League.
We had the most days.
50 to Newcastle. Sheffield United 1,761. Chelsea 1,745.
Just shy of 200.
Yeah. So. And then I was arguing with a Crystal Palace fan who he thought he was just as worse off as Newcastle. They were like 8th on the list with 1,582. So we have had to suffer a lot this season. And like you said, Eddie Howe, to get us out of this season, still finishing in the European place, even though we're not getting Europe, is fantastic.
Yep. Hey, I want to add to that. What Dan said is Eddie Howe deserves a lot of credit also for, I think he's been fighting a lot of things behind the scenes and keeping it from hitting the press. And, he's soothing players that are upset. He's encouraging other players that need to be encouraged. And I mean, I think we hit some rough spots this year. And I think there were also some controversies going on that he just managed it. He just, and sometimes it showed on the pitch. It's like, what is up with so-and-so, but yeah, I give him a lot of credit.
medical team must be blamed for the ridiculous amount of extra time added on. That is one of the things I think because obviously Blade knows someone who's in that field. They are looking into all this extra time being added on. Is it causing the injuries? Because we're not used to games going up to 90 plus 9, 105. And the stop-start in the VAR all the time, the players start to cool down. They then got to get back up and play again and sprint. You'll know better than me because you played at a higher level. But in a Premier League level, if you're standing around for 5 minutes waiting for a VAR decision, is that going to put you more susceptible to a hamstring injury or a groin injury or something like that? Because you're cooling down and then you're told, right, we're off and running again. And you're back to full pelt again.
Yeah.
Never thought of it that way.
Worst time in football is obviously half time. Because obviously you're up and running and you're into your game swing. If there's any injuries go down, anything like that, and you're stood around, of course you're going to be sustainable for injuries and stuff like that. The extra time on top, I'm not so sure.
We're not used to it though. We see a lot of people with cramp where we didn't a few seasons ago. A lot of people going down with cramp now.
But the thing is though, Baz, the intensity of the Premier League is so much faster. It's getting faster and faster every year, mind. If you watch Sky and you put the Premier League classics on, and you watch back 10 years, right? You just will go back 10 years and you watch a game. It's nowhere near as fast as what the players are. You've got the odd players, right, that are exceptional, that will stand out. But you've got a lot of grafters in there. There's not, there's a lot of tackling going in. You can't tackle now, so you've got to be a flair player. You've got to have skill. You've got to have pace. You've got to be direct. Even your goalkeepers now. Your goalkeepers back then, all you used to do was take goal kicks and that was it. Catch a ball. Now they're a sweeper. They play a certain part where goalkeepers now are coming. They're playing 30 yards up the pitch and they're being an important part of the game. The game's changed so much. So I'll take two examples for existence. Anthony Gordon came to our football club a season and a half ago, and he got the shock of his life. He thought he was fit at Everton. He was nowhere near fit to come to Newcastle United. Hall, right? Now, and Hall is exactly the same this season. And I was one, and I got told as well he was going back to Chelsea. Something was going wrong in the background. It's took him that long, and he's even spoke out to himself I was nowhere near fit or ready to play in Newcastle United's team. Now, since he's came back into this team, he's actually been one of our better players and standouts. He's been absolutely exceptional. Anthony Gordon speaks words for everybody. He's just a different player now under Eddie Howe. The examples what I'm showing is, if that's just two players going down with Lewis Hall couldn't even finish a game. He was getting 60, 70 minutes and he was breaking down. These players train to a level where all footballers wouldn't even train to a level even existed. They wouldn't have wanted to do it. They'd have twisted their asses off. This is different now. They're athletes, and that's the difference now.
It'll be an interesting study, though, wouldn't it, Gary? If someone's going to do it, like how many players are now getting cramped to what they used to get, how many extra added minutes are added on, and how many times players go down because of it. It would be an interesting study, to be fair.
Yeah. You know what it is? I was just thinking about what Ian said there when I think back to the 90s and what the game was like. And when I think now, and I didn't twig until I watched Anthony Gordon's interview on the overlap when he said he does a muscle train because he thinks that is causing players injuries, so he doesn't build his muscle up. He runs. And I'm thinking,
more chance of pulling one, I suppose.
Yeah, are players too big these days? Is that the problem? And when you think back, Giggs looked great, didn't he? But he never had a growing six-pack or out like that, and he wasn't huge. And when you look at some of our players who are picking up injuries, i.e. Joe Linton, he's just
his was a knee, wasn't it? I mean, if you look at Wilson,
St. Maximin's another one. He regularly picked up muscle injuries, and he looks incredible. But there's something clearly wrong, and I don't know. I mean, you look back, and the game has got quicker. You can't deny that. But gigs were still running at 90 mile an hour in the 90s, and Overmars was in 2000s and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just there's something we've done wrong this season in the medical side, because we've picked up injuries where players have come onto the pitch and 10 minutes later they've went off with an injury. It's happened a few times. And yeah, we've had the freak ones, Barnes at Sheffield United, Murphy dislocating his shoulder, Byrne landing on his back. Stuff you cannot like stop them. They're just unfortunate. But there's been some strange, bizarre ones, man.
Guys,
just very quickly, guys. Just for Paul, try and keep your hands away from your face because your lip reads.
Okay.
So when you're talking, if you can, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. If a quick one there, when players come off the bench, right? That's got nothing to do with the medical team. That's got nothing to do with anything like that. That's all to do with how your player warms up and goes through his stretching exercises. If he's just tossing that off and just going up and down that touchline, clapping fans, right? Thinking he's fit because it's a nice warm night, and then he'll go into an intensity game and then make an explosive sprint, his hamstring can go. So that's down to player. That it's got nothing to do with the medical staff. That mind, nothing. That is players coming off.
Well, the medical staff has got to be have a big say in the Botman situation. He did his knee, and then they sent him back out again.
That's different.
I mean, that was crazy. That was the Sells as well. The Sells did his knee, and they sent him back out again for another 5-10 minutes.
Joe Linton done exactly the same as the Sunderland game, right? That's medical stuff. I totally agree with that. That's medical stuff. But as a substitute coming on, that is down to a player, him, because you can't. Right, a manager looks after his players, but you can't put them to bed every night. What you need to do is when they send them out, go and get warmed up.
I reckon Eddie could.
That's his own personal responsibility to go down that touchline and make sure he's ready to come on the football pitch. He's fit. Eddie's done him through the week, and he's got him ready to go into that game. When he goes into that touchline, he's sat in his horse on a subs bench, by the way, for sometimes 60 minutes. They're up and down, right? They'll do 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. He's got to go down there and get a good warm up, get stretched. And if he's going to come on and get himself injured, I would say that's down to a player rather than medical staff.
One of the worst I saw was today, in today's game. It was David Brooks went down with a bad arm injury.
Oh, that looked bad as well.
He came back onto the pitch and it took him, he was running, not moving his arm. He was literally running with his arm stuck to the side, holding his chest.
Terrible.
And I'm looking, I'm going, why has he not been brought off this pitch? It took them about 5 minutes to get him off the pitch.
Yeah.
And you could clearly see, and then he just fell to the ground. His arm wasn't moving. And I'm thinking, who told him to go back on that pitch?
I think he wanted to. I don't think it was the medical staff. But again, the medical staff need to have more balls, don't they, and then make the decision.
I could tell. He couldn't move his frigging arm.
Yeah,
and before you know it, and before you know it, you're in trouble because David Bruce can't tackle anybody because his arm's screwed. Yeah. And then you let a goal in. He should have been... It's just little ones like that for me where you just like... I mean, Lascelles is the one for me. I knew he was screwed the minute he went down. And
breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Pep Guardiola is set to leave Man City at the end of next season despite the club wanting him to stay.
He's won all he can there.
I know, but that's great because then hopefully they'll have a bit of a dip and then we can go.
Foster's earned 11 trophies having played 107 minutes.
I think there might be. I mean, the bookies have got Man City 25-1 to get relegated. I think
they're just hedging their. They're literally hedging their bets on that.
Does Pep know something?
No, they're just worried about the FA finding them guilty, so they've had to drastically reduce the odds. Because if they put the odds at like 1,000 to 1 for them to go down, which is what the odds should be, everyone will bang a quid on that. And then if they did get down, they'd lose millions because everyone will go, it's just a quid. You know? So, but if you put it at 25 to 1, people are going to go, well, I can't really make a lot of money off that from a little bit. I'd have to put at least 50 quid on to make a decent amount on it. But then there's the risk of it, nothing coming out of it as well. So 25 to 1 is hedging their bets, basically.
That's what you need to do is you need to get the Irish bookie on, that's Sean Casey. And he'll go through all the bookings and everything like that because he hedges his bets and takes a gamble on stuff. He'll get you the best odds for Manchester City going down. I'll guarantee you that one.
I love it. Well, He's the man with the inside information. He should know if they're going down or not.
Exactly.
But there you go.
Where's that come from, boss?
It's in our group from Mail Sport.
All right, because Sky haven't got it up yet, because I've got Sky Sports News on, and you know what they're like. They're just
I
like,
know.
Craig Hope
I think
running
they'll
late
get on
night,
it
eh?
Hey, this is a good time for that announcement because now we'll just hold on to Bruno, right?
Well, this is the thing that I was thinking of. Bruno would want to play for Pep, and if Pep's only there for a season, would Bruno want to leave just for one season to play with Pep? So,
and Bruno would want to go if Paqueta goes, but now Paqueta's not going to go. So,
well, Paqueta's in a 10-year ban potentially, isn't he? Which is absolutely crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
we got told, Baz, didn't we, that club wants Paqueta, right?
Yeah,
and
but Pep wanted Bruno.
And they didn't know whether to upset Pep and sign Paqueta for this new 1-year deal that was supposed to be in line, which is now coming out, Baz. So again, this information that we get, mate, is true.
yes.
It's true.
I think Blade's right with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's so much going on. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been told Bruno's staying anyway. But again, I'm in that mindset that I'd rather just forget about what Bruno's going to do. His dad's come out on Instagram and on TikTok and put a picture of Bruno with his years and his 24, 25 on it.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
he just bought a bloody house. So, I mean,
there it is.
That's it.
So for me, Bruno looks like I've been told he's 100% staying. I mean, if you look at all the videos and everything that he's been doing with Joe Linton at his wedding.
The one was about
the singing and everything. They can't sing to save their lives. They're like me. They're completely tone deaf. Absolute terrible singers. But I'm so pleased that yeah. But I'm not going to bother arguing with people by putting stuff like that out there. Bruno's staying, guys. Don't argue with me about it. If he goes, he goes. He's got 100 million clause. If someone triggers it, it's up to Bruno if he wants to leave or not. It's as simple as that. So we just got to forget about it, haven't we?
I think there's only one club Bruno considers leaving for.
Madrid or Barca.
Madrid. I can't see Barcelona haven't got a pot to piss in. They can. I mean, they've just announced that new manager, and he's had to get the train up the new camp because they can't afford to pick him up in a helicopter or something. But I think Madrid's the only one for me.
Mr. Powell, Barca can't afford him. It's as simple as that. These representatives might have spoke to Barca, but Barca can't afford 100 million, so it's not going to happen. Nobody said he was going.
Barca are sneaky because Barca are the type of club who would offer a player in exchange for, or offer a player plus this and that. But that's I think Madrid are the only team for me where I think he goes.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going there because I don't think they can afford him either, especially with this Mbappe contract and stuff like that. Right, let's get on to some season stuff. We're just kind of rabbiting on. It's great. I love it. I love doing it like this. But very quickly, if you haven't seen the latest news, watch the latest news video. Dominic Cameron-Lewin. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. This is amazing. Will is going to join the show through the summer to do transfer specials. If you've heard these spaces, he's very good on Twitter. He's got great information. I've known Will for quite a while now. He's been in our banter group for a while, and he tells us a lot of stuff. So we're really looking forward to doing that transfer show. The first one will be on Tuesday at 8 p.m. So please tune into that because hopefully we'll have lots of stuff. Fingers crossed. Right, this is how the season finished. As we all know, we finished 7th. For the first time in Premier League history, we finished above Man United. So you might as well just give us the finishing above Man United trophy right now because I want one.
I do too.
All right, you can slag us off as much as you want, saying that's a small club mentality. You only finished 7th. To get that small monkey off our back of being ahead of Man United, I honestly thought we'd finish 2nd or 1st when it ever happened. I never thought we'd be fucking 7th, but we are. These things happen. But, I mean, looking at the table, and I've mentioned it already, we're only 8 points behind Villa, which, like I say, if we've just sorted out a few of those games that we should have won, you know, there's about 5 or 6 spring to mind. We could have easily finished in the top 4. It's kind of frustrating when you look at it that way, but there are positives from this season. I'll start with you, John. Are you happy we're not in Europe? Because the Conference League, it's not the greatest competition in the world, but you tell that to West Ham fans who won it last year. But is this a blessing in disguise?
I think it is. You know, I was terribly disappointed in Man City. You know, I couldn't even watch the game. I was traveling yesterday, but I got a text from California from the guys in San Diego saying, "Can you believe this?" I think Dan was a part of that same message string. And some of our good friends in San Diego, they said, "Can you believe this? I cannot believe, you know, Man City dropped this game." And I was like, "Are you kidding?" I couldn't even imagine that was going to happen. I thought for sure we're in Europe, you know. But when I heard it, initially I thought, uh-oh, I hope we don't lose anybody to this, you know, a potential transfer or whatever. But then overnight, I read all the material, I looked at everything, and I was like, yeah, you know, if we just focus on Premier League next year, I think we can really give some people trouble. I mean, Liverpool's going to drop down a bit. Man United is still a mess. You know, I'm fine. I'm fine with not going to Europe. Now, as soon as we open the show, Baz says there's still an offside chance of getting in. And I'm like, oh no, I can't take it back and forth. You know, either we're in, we're out. You know, stop.
Small little chance. Yeah. It's tiny. It's tiny.
I mean, I thought it would have been a really wonderful thing, okay, because for Eddie to get all the way, to claw back all the way to 7th and get to European competition would have been fantastic. That's where I was before that game started. But then last night I was thinking, you know, if we just keep everybody, get a couple of good transfers, and really go after the Premier League next year, we're going to be a terror. We are going to be something to watch out for. So in that regard, I'm happy.
And 2 domestic cups. We've still got 2 domestic cups, which are also roads into Europe.
Yeah.
So, you know,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, Dan, what's your thoughts on it? Are you happy or unhappy, or just 50-50?
I went on record long before the end of the season saying I'd give up Europe to finish above United. And we did that. I agree with John. I agree with the panel. Does anybody want to? What's an away night in Donetsk going to be like? You know, the Conference League? You are far flung across Europe trying to get to one of those matches.
And I can't Lithuania, you could end up anywhere, couldn't you? Really, we're playing these small clubs who will see it as a massive cup final for them every game we play.
I mean, you're right that West Ham won it, and look what that's done for David Moyes.
Not a lot. He's got
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you know, let's concentrate on finishing, you know, in the Champions League spaces. Let's concentrate on winning an FA Cup. Let's concentrate on winning the Carabao Cup. You know, win the Carabao Cup with, you know, Lewis Hall, Livramento, Miley, Elliot Anderson. You know, give them some credit. Give the young players some credit. Give them the ability to get in there and do what they do. You know, I'm while I'm disappointed in Man City yesterday because I just can't stand Man United.
Yeah.
I'm happy where we are. And 7 is my favorite number. So there you go. I am not disappointed. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, Gary.
I want to get Europe. I think everybody knows. Look, long term, Williams Europe, isn't it? As a club, you've got to be in Europe. After the season we've had injuries-wise, I'm not surprised. I was cursing Man City yesterday, calling them absolutely friggin' useless. Then I realised it's our own fault that we're not in Europe. And it's not because of Man City, it's because of Luton at home, Forest at home, Everton at home. We're crap away from. That's the reason. And Martin Dubravka's another big reason. But that's another story. I am disappointed because I really do think we could have won that competition. But if I'm looking at it in a way of for Premier League next season, we can have a serious go at the Premier League now next season, big time, because there's no Europe to distract with. The thing is now, some of the, not excuses, but I cannot say we're getting as many injuries next season, fingers crossed, because of it. So we can't use the injury thing next season probably as much, hopefully anyway. Or look,
we don't want to be using that. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see all those injuries again.
But look, I just want Newcastle to win their first trophy, right? So we can get that out of the way, right? Because the first one's always the hard one. And that could have been the first trophy. That could have been the one that set up for the rest of them. And I've seen some of the teams, in that competition. Like, to be honest, I couldn't tell you half them off. I couldn't even tell you where they're from or anything like that off them. But it's still a cup competition, but it is what it is, and just got to get on with it, haven't we? But all these people coming out and saying, Bruno's away now, because Bruno's not staying because of the Conference League. He wants Champions League. Plain and simple. It's got nothing to do with Conference or Europa. Isak wants Champions League, and I think both of them will stay, but in a year's time, could be different. But we need to push big next season for me. We need Europe next season. And that's got to be the aim.
If we're not in the Europa League or higher next season, we will lose Bruno. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think Bruno's going to get one more season because I think he does love the club. I genuinely believe he loves the club. And I think there's no more determined player in that team to lift a trophy than him.
Yeah.
And
give him the captain's armband.
Oh, but I'd give him it now, mate. Honestly, I would. I would give him it. And the way he put his arm around them youngsters in Australia was that's the sign of a captain. And I don't know. This is a different one, but Lascelles, he can't be our captain next season. I'm sorry, he can't. We've got to move on from Lascelles. And Trippier, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with Trippier. Doesn't look right to me. And
we've had a bit of information on Trippier, but I've heard that he's not away.
He's not away, is he? No. Oh,
no.
Well,
unless there's a decent offer coming for him, he's not going anywhere. So it'll be interesting.
Well, Trippier will be captain next season if he stays. I cannot see him taking it off Trippier, but we need to move on from Lascelles being the main captain.
Yeah, we do.
Plus, he's missing months at the beginning of the season as well. We've got to move on. But that's a different story, isn't it? But as for Europe, I'm disappointed, but go for the league big time next season. Aim for Champions League.
Ian?
like I said to you, Baz, yesterday, was after the game, and that when I said to you, I think we're going to struggle to keep the elite, to attract the elite with not being in Europe. And do you know, I was glad what you said, that it didn't make a difference in your opinion. Now, it took us a good couple of hours to actually think back and realise what I'd actually said, because I was quite pissed off to say, because we hadn't actually, when I'd seen a pitiful Manchester City performance and obviously Manchester United winning, that it didn't get into Europe. I think financially for the club, it's better that we're not in that, because I think the UEFA rules, I think something of 75%. Now we can spend 85%, so beneficial financial wise. I think that benefits the club more. Again, when you look at the clubs that we potentially would have been going to, some of them, I don't think Bruno and them would have enjoyed going there, even though if you're in Europe, our top players would, no disrespect, would probably been going to the likes of the MK Dons and away in horrible places where we wouldn't. It's different when you go into Champions League, when you go to the likes of Dortmund and AC Milan, where you've got massive crowds and great atmospheres.
Stadiums to play in, atmospheres.
When these players are going to away grounds where you've got some potential like 5,000 fans and it could be -5, it's going to be so difficult and it'll put such a strain on them. However, it's still that European badge what you've got on your club, which is still Europe. Going forward, just because we're not in Europe, I know we've got domestic cup to go at. I've seen today on Twitter, of course, that just because we're in Europe and we're going to be playing less games, people just automatically think that we will finish top 4 next season. Now, for me, that is absolutely ridiculous. Let's see, this is what drives me crackers, is that the optimism of some fans now is just because we're finishing the Champions League and we've dropped off a bit, and then all of a sudden, because we're not in Europe, we've only got one game to potentially be playing Saturday or whatever. It automatically just gives us the goddamn right to finish 4th. No. Newcastle United, we are so far behind these top clubs' minds. But it just goes to show it'll give that club this summer has got to be absolutely massive mind for Newcastle United. And if we show intent in this summer to drive us forward to be a consistent top 4 team, that's different, right? We haven't got the goddamn right just because we're out of Europe and we're playing. What people's thinking is the season that we're qualified for the Champions League and we went to cup finals. Just because that happened that season, we didn't have many injuries. They think it's automatically going to happen next season. It's not. I'll guarantee you, it's going to be even tougher to do that. And it just goes to. And we have to have a club that hopefully shows so much determination to drive us forward and back Eddie Howe to the limitations that we've got in financial fair play. Move that deadwood out and use them resources to the maximum capacity what we have as a football club to get us close to them Champions League football every single season, not just because we're out of a European Cup competition.
I don't think people. I mean, there will be some people who say, right, the top 4 is a given. I certainly don't think it's a given. Never is. What I'm saying is what I have said is not being in Europe is better for our chances of finishing the top 4 because we won't be playing Thursday, Sunday, or Thursday, Monday. It gives us a little bit of an advantage over the teams who are in Europe.
Yeah.
To hopefully push us towards that top 4. And the other good news,
we can do an Aston Villa next season.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can see looking at it when you come away from yesterday when everybody's pissed off and you have a look at the bigger picture. You can see so many different directions that the club can take rather than if we were in Europe. There's only your limitations goes back with your financial fair play, how much you can spend. Now, if we were in Europe, you then would have to potentially offer contracts to Paul Dummett and Matt Ritchie. Now that's critical to me. Them players now should be pushed out and gone. Right? Now that opens the door now to bring in 2 youthful players going forward for the future, rather than 2 old hands that's been around the club, fantastic service for the club, mind. Haven't got a bad word to say about them, but it's time for them to go. I know, as you said about Jamal Lascelles. Now, these 2 players potentially could have been still at our football club. Jamal Lascelles, I know he's likely to go out, but he's younger. This is the type of situations where we're in, where our hands would have been tied if we're in that European football slot. It opens up now a different area of what we can do, as much as we are disappointed that we're on Europe. For me, it's a positive now, but I've had it. Thanks, Baz, for giving us that one. Because, when I've looked back at it, it's a massive positive that we're not in there, but it doesn't give us the goddamn right to finish 4th. It just hopefully pushes that direction of the football club on a whole and a different. Instead of just being one direction, it opens us up in a big different area to offload players and to bring other players in for the future. And I think that's more important.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, there's one big thing that we didn't have this season that we've definitely got next season, and that's Sandro Tonali.
Yeah, right? Tonali back.
Now,
like a new signing, isn't he?
That bloke, seriously, we know he's good, we know he's quality, we know he's Champions League standard, and I think I've just got a feeling after what's happened to him, he's going to come out all guns blazing the minute he gets onto that pitch.
Guys, and I'm telling you now, the first tweet or anything I see on social media that Tonali can't play with Bruno or Joe Linton, I'm going to go absolutely off the scale.
No, I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see the 3 of them. Honestly, I think Tonali is going to make such a huge difference to us next season. Huge.
And it's not just about the 3 of them playing together. It's about the actual squad rotation we could actually have. If there is an injury, you've got an excellent player to come in behind them.
I mean, him and Bruno haven't had a chance to play it together properly. And once them 2, you know what Bruno's like. Bruno can play with anybody. But once Bruno and him are on the same wavelength, I tell you, honestly, that. Especially, you know what it is? Teams like Luton will be beaten at home. Forest will be beaten at home. Because these 2 will win games. This is what the big players do. They win games. They win trophies. And that's why they're the best. And that for me is a big. But I mean, we've got to get our recruitment right this summer, and because of FFP, it's got to be spot on. even Staveley said it, we can't make a mistake. I personally think we've only made one mistake since the club took over regarding transfers in, and that's my target for me. And everybody
at the
else.
time he was right, though, wasn't he? That's the thing.
At the time it helped, but
yeah.
Hey, I want to say
Go
something
on,
John. Ian put that really well. You know, you can't. I really think we are going to be a terror next year, but it doesn't guarantee that we're going to finish top 4. You know, just because we're out of these other competitions like Champions League.
Definitely not. But it could be 5. It could be 5th. Remember, because if we better any other, the points reset again next season. So if all our English clubs do well and we get into the top 2, it could go down to 5th spot. Obviously, we blew it this year. As a team, but we could do it next season.
But my point is, you know, the only thing we're going to have to watch for next year is like we got to keep our heads straight. We cannot get down, you know, going into any game, and we cannot fritter away a first half, waking up.
First 20 minutes every game.
We have got to go in there full bore all the time, and we got plenty of time to rest in between, you know. So we just got to keep our heads straight next year. And you're right, you know, with Botman and with who did you just mention? Tonali. And Bruno and Gordon. My God, Gordon's like right up there now. If all those guys who are super competitive just go into every game, you know, keeping everybody on point, you know, we'll do good. We'll do good.
Don't forget, we're missing Bottoms a lot of the season as well because of his foot injury, and he scored goals. He scored about, you know, an incredible amount of goals considering how long he's been out for. Get J7 back fully fit and raring like he used to as a bully in that midfield, which we need. All we've got to do really is sort out a right winger, a right forward, who can score, you know, between 8 and 12 goals, just like Gordon's done this season. If you have that with Isak and Gordon, that is your spot. That right wing spot gets us top 4 if they can replicate what Gordon does.
I mean, I personally don't.
Striker who's fit.
I personally don't think this will happen, but somebody like Jared Bowen, who you know is going to get you 12 goals this season,
he'd easily get 15 money in our team.
And I mean, I don't think it'll happen, but
no, do I.
It's like that's what you need, and a goalkeeper. Well,
the Mamadishvili, how you pronounce his name, he looks like he wants his future sorted before the Euros. So we'll know within the next 3 weeks whether he's going to sign for Newcastle or not. We'll also know about Tosun. Now, I've been saying about Tosun for a while. He hasn't agreed to come to us yet because he's waiting for Europe. And I think that puts a little black spot on us signing him because Man United are interested in him. They're playing in Europa League, which is a much better competition. And that it's not about because they're in Europe, it's game time. And I think Tosun will look at it and go, well, Shaw's going to be number 1 pairing with Botman next season. Now they don't have that extra competition. My game time might go down a bit. So let's see what happens there. We know Kelly's done.
You can reverse that, Baz, what you just said there. Because Fab Shaw's getting on, and he's be saying, look, Fab Shaw won't be playing as much as what you think, and you're going to be Botman pair because they're young. Now, I know that we've been heavily scouting Malik Howe from AC Milan. Now, he's another young right-side centre-half. So if Tosun doesn't come through, I think we'll go down that route as well, mate. So
another one on the line.
Who was that, Ian? Sorry?
Malik Howe.
Juventus.
From AC Milan.
Oh, AC Milan. There's a Juventus one we're looking at as well, isn't there? A young lad from Juventus.
How old's that lad from Juventus? Because I'm normally switched on with like players, but I don't recognise him.
Yeah, Malik Howe, he's had a bit of a rough season at AC Milan, and we've had scouts over there for quite a while now looking at him.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No name I'm familiar with.
Transfer shows on Tuesday. We'll talk all about that stuff on Tuesday night. Right, let's go through a few things from this season. Let's go for player of the season first. John, who was your player of the season and why?
Well, I think, the club, didn't they pick Anthony Gordon? I would have to say that Anthony Gordon was the player because he's just been a role model. He's been his work rate and everything. He's kept in shape. He gives you the same thing almost every game. He really produced for us. Yeah, I thought he was our player of the year.
I tend to agree. Dan?
Agreed.
Agreed. Any particular reason other than what John said? Or?
Just he's my most improved player as well. But I mean, he's come on leaps and bounds. He is a model professional now for the rest of the younger people in the roster, for the people in the locker room to look up to and say, that's what I want to aspire to. He came in with this attitude that he was, the bee's knees, and he got knocked down a couple of pegs, but he's learned. He's fully invested in this project. He's fully invested in what Eddie Howe has brought to the fore. He's the guy who can show every single new recruit that comes into the locker room, look, this is what we do. This is how we do it, and this is how we get better. And that's who you want in the dressing room. As Gary said, watching the interview on the overlap, I was dumbfounded. I really got a feel of what kind of player he was. I always just thought this guy that thought his shit didn't stink. He really does have this weirdo mindset that he's just like, the fact that he can go sit in a room and meditate and go think about the game that's coming up and how he wants to play, so that when he goes to make those moves, they're automatic. They're going, okay, you're some kind of mystical twit, but at the same time, I love this attitude, and let's go.
Yeah,
love it. Gary, who did you go for?
No, I was going to change it up. I can't knock Amber Gordon. I can't look. Isak's been fantastic. Bruno's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, what Isak's done this season, and he has had injuries. He has been unreal, right? But Gordon, since minute one of the season, has, I mean, whether it's been a little shit being involved in everything.
He started on the bench, remember?
Yeah. And ever since the Liverpool game at home, where I'll tell you what, Trent probably still has nightmares about that game, because Gordon, everything. I was watching some of the goals today because I was just going through everything, and Gordon's involved in everything that we do. Yeah. Whether he's getting a penalty or whether he's shouting at somebody, whether he's involved in the build-up, he's always there.
Yeah.
And it's without him this season, we wouldn't have been where we were. But Isak, look, Isak for me, he's been phenomenal. Bruno's had another great season, but Gordon just gets it for me.
Hey, Gary, I had Isak written down as like a backup because if he hadn't been injured, who knows what he would have done for us this year.
100%.
Gordon, what was it? 11 goals, 10 assists, and 6 penalties won.
Yeah, but I think Gordon edged it for me because his record against the top teams this season has been fantastic, and he's got the wins against Arsenal, Man United at home, etc. And it's just like it's just been incredible. Plus, it's been a big to the Everton fans basically seeing shite, and it's like he's just been phenomenal. And he's only going to get better.
They robbed us for 40 million. They robbed us.
Yeah, I don't even think we've seen the best of him. Honestly, I don't think we've seen the best of him. I think he's got another gear to go.
I'm following up with Gary. I said, watch next season with Tonali, Bruno, Gordon, Isak, some unnamed wonder winger on the right, and J7.
I've got my tissues ready.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a different kettle of fish.
I'd like to give a special mention as well to a player who I'd put Fabian Shaw as I think Shaw's had a fantastic season.
Yeah,
and obviously I pick Gordon, but boring. I'll be boring and pick Gordon.
No. That's why we do it. Ian?
Good reasons.
Yeah. Obviously Gordon for me as well. A player that came to our club where so many fans had question marks on him and didn't know, but a lot of fans didn't want him, thought it was just an absolute waste of money. Owned up that he was below par, went away pre-season, came back an absolute superstar, by the way. Yeah. And rightly so, he's been involved in everything his work rate off the ball is just a credit to him what he's with the ball as well. Going forward, mate, I think his England call-ups now will make Anthony Gordon go to a different level, mind.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially going to Euros. And when you're looking at somebody that's direct and make things happen and can score goals, there's not many people coming from that left-hand side in this country at this time can do it to a level what Anthony Gordon can do. When we say about Anthony Gordon to a different level, I'll repeat myself again. I think England's so important to him. He was always thriving. He got the player of the tournament for 21s in the summer.
Yeah.
And he come back a different player altogether. He must have given him so much more confidence. He even said on the overlap and made him look at his own game in a completely different way. He obviously trusts his manager. He trusts the assistant. He trusts the coaches, which it improves him to that next level. Let's just see what happens in the summer. Because if he has a fantastic tournament, by the way, we are going to have an absolute superstar in our hands next season. We will, because I think he'll get better and better.
Yeah,
I think you've got to. I think you've got to look at the kids as well. And I've got 2 kids in the house, and whenever you see like the laddie who is in hospital,
down in Liverpool.
Kids, Anthony Gordon's my kids' favourite player, and that shows. When we've got people like Isak and Bruno who are just like phenomenal footballers, but Gordon is their favourite. It shows you how good Gordon really is.
Yeah.
And I think Ian's 100% spot on what he said about him getting called up for England. And I think Southgate's been ruthless a bit this. I think he's made some bad decisions, but I think for the first time, he hasn't picked some players basically because they've been crap.
Yeah.
And he's picked Gordon based on his work rate, his goals, his assists, his goals against the top teams, and I think Gordon's going to have a brilliant tournament.
Yeah.
And whether he starts or comes on, he is going to be a threat.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
A big threat.
And let's face it, all those ASN fans who were saying, bring him back, bring him back.
Oh, no
one would bring him back and replace him for Gordon.
That is like comparing Mila Kunis and, what you call Boyle, Susan Boyle or whatever she calls, you know, the thing. Comparing them two to each other is
harsh.
I'll tell you what it is. That's a harsh comparison.
That's a challenging one.
It's you know what? Same Maximin did some good things for us, but he's not a Gordon's level.
What you just said there, mate, will be thrown out the Twitter that you've done again for the next month. I'm not sticking up for you again, mate. What you've just said.
Why not? That was funny. That was funny. That was who said that joke? Was it Sean Locke on 8 out of 10?
Don't say nothing like that again.
It was Sean Locke on 8 out of 10 Catster's Countdown. That's when Rachel Riley came out with a beard and a horn thing on. He just looked at him and went, "It's a challenging wank."
You cannot say stuff like that. Not anymore.
Oh man, I've been listening to Jim Jeffries the last couple of days. I've forgotten how funny he was. None of you who watch Jim Jeffries, the Aussie comedian. If you're easily offended, don't bother. But if you can put up with a lot of really naughty jokes, then he is your man, because he is absolutely brilliant. I've gone for Gordon as well. And not just because of what he does on the pitch, what he does off the pitch as well is unbelievable. So, he deserves it. 11 goals, 10 assists, won 6 penalties, and he just seems like such a top bloke. And all we ever saw of him before he came to Newcastle was his Everton side, was how much of it Nobby looked like on the pitch. Yeah, nobody knew about this other side of him offside the pitch until he came to Newcastle, and then we got to see it as well. So he's been a credit to our club this season.
We're seeing a boy become a man.
Yeah,
is what we're seeing.
Well, that's what makes me laugh about the Liverpool links. He couldn't wait to get away from Liverpool, and then the journalists like, "Well, Liverpool, why the frick would he go back there?"
Exactly.
Chased them out. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's great that. I mean, I tweeted him and asked him to get in touch with the person. Thousands of other people did as well. And he did. He got in touch with them straight away. He drove down almost the same day that he got contacted, which is why we knew he wasn't in the squad. And everyone started. That was another thing that people started trying to nail me for. As I said, that Anthony Gordon isn't in the squad for the game tomorrow. Well, how do you know that? How do you know this, man? Because he's off the fucking Liverpool. Then you see that kid. He's fucking puts in the boots. But no one believed me. No one wanted to listen. They're all like, "Oh yeah, you just be a fucking idiot again." And then suddenly the team sheet comes out, the squad comes out. Oh look, there's no Anthony Gordon. Would you look at that? I wonder who said that. Does my fucking head in sometimes. Right, what's the next one? Young player of the season. Now, Ian, you've cheated on this one.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, because he's the same player.
Of course it is, Anthony Gordon.
You can't have the same player. You can't have a player of the season and a young player of the season as the same person. I mean, you can, but it's a cop-out.
I can. And
cop-out.
The reason why is because he's only 21-year-old.
Yeah, cop-out. 22.
And no other young player
22
consistently over the season deserves that honour in my eyes.
2 awards.
Right now, Miley came in, forced, done a fantastic job.
Right.
But to a level of to get that over a full season, there's only one man that ticks that box for me, and that's Anthony Gordon.
Fair play. Gary, young player of the year. Young.
I have to admit, I didn't pick Gordon purely based on that reason, but Ian's right. But anyway, Lewis Miley had a great season, and I think if he hadn't got injured, I would have given him. Right, but I haven't. I'm going to give it to Tino Livramento.
Ooh, there's a good shout as well.
Purely based on the fact that we signed him in the summer. We knew we'd signed a player, and for a number of games this season to come in, play Champions League, go up against Mbappe, be involved in that goal at Man United, have man of the match performances at home to City and stuff like that. He's had, I mean, you kind of complain that you kind of see he hasn't had a bloody good season, to be honest. And I just think we're going to see the best of him in the next 2 or 3 years. He's going to get better and better and better. But I just think it's this season, he's had some fantastic performances going forward, defending. Still think there's improvements. But he will get better because he's young. Eddie's the best person when it comes to coaching players and getting the best out of them. And he's had to go left back, he's had to go right back. And I just think he's had for a first season, I think he's had a really, really good season.
Yeah, I agree. Dan?
I agree with both of them, but I took the meaning of the award to heart. And we would not have seen Lewis Miley as much as we have without the injuries that we had. And we saw him play in America last summer, and we had quite the player right there. And we didn't know if we were going to see minutes out of him. So I went Miley simply because I was reading into young player of the season. I absolutely agree with both Ian and Gary. Both of their choices are spot on. I went Miley because he's the youngest in the squad. He did a hell of a job when we didn't expect him to, and I think he's going to come on leaps and bounds this next couple of seasons, especially having guys like Bruno and Tonali as role models, and Anthony Gordon for that matter. So yep, I went Miley only because
I like Miley. I like that one. I like Tino as well, though. To be fair, John, who did you go for?
Well, I had 4 names written down here, and this is something.
Oh,
and I'll tell you why. Because we just talked about Botman and Bruno and all these stars playing next year, but look at the young guys we've got. Okay, Miley was great at the beginning of the year, and he kind of fell off. We were just working him too hard. And then who steps up? Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall. Both of those guys played really good. So, you got to give it to Miley at the beginning. And then overall, I would probably pick Miley. But look at Tino, look at Lewis Hall. Oh, my gosh, they did a lot. And Elliot, I thought did pretty good, Elliot Anderson. But yeah. I don't know, he kind of fell off too. So we got 4 young guys there that, that's what we need. We need guys that can put him in. Put him in. You know, after the 75 minutes, put him in. But Tino and Hall, they should be starting a lot of times. So I overall, Miley. Yeah,
I like it. Do you know what? I'm going to throw one out left field, and it's going to piss you all off because he's never thought about it. Minter. A Feyenoord.
well,
he's been the young player of the season.
He's calling you a cop out here.
I was at St. James a lot. I didn't see him.
No, I'm joking. I'd like to give it to Miley personally because of the games that he stepped up in. Paris Saint-Germain away. He was incredible.
We needed him.
We did, you know, and he did step up, and he was only 17, you know, and I know people say it's just an age and all that sort of stuff, but for him to do what he did and to step up with all those injuries and play week in, week out, sometimes 2 games a week, and literally the strain ended up killing him because he ended up getting an injury because of it all. I think he deserves a special mention for Young Player of the Year, personally. And that's only because Gordon got Player of the Season. Gordon is just slightly a little bit too old for being Player of the Season for me.
If you were basing it on the last 2 months, I would have went Lewis Hall.
Yeah, Lewis Hall's been brilliant.
Yeah, I think the last 2 months he is being superb. But I'm purely basing mine on full season, and
that's what I do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going for. That's why Miley didn't win it for me because of his injury. If he hadn't got injured, I would have picked him, but I'm purely basing it on that.
It's fair play. Most improved player, Dan.
We've already said it. It's Gordon. And I don't think we have to explain why. I think we don't. We've already done all the attributes. It's done. He's the most improved player. Boom, done. Yeah. What's your favorite goal? What's your favorite goal, Gary? I don't think we have to say it. It's going to be unanimous.
I agree with Gordon.
Gordon, yeah.
I think, to be honest, if I had to pick a couple of little things, I would say Hall in the last 2 months. I think Dan Burn going to centre back. The last 2 months from left back has been massive. Yeah, Murphy. But it's got to be Gordon, because if you compare, you've got to compare it off last season, right? And you can't base it on Bruno because Bruno hasn't probably been as good or just whatever. Well, Gordon has went to a different level. Exactly. Gordon's went to a different level, absolute different level from last season. Yeah, but Gordon's just like this. This is insane what Gordon's done compared to last season. It's I mean, you're going from a guy that Everton fans thought were wasting my money on because he's shit to an England player within the space of a year, and that you didn't get much more improvement than that.
No, you don't. You do the same.
Well, you know it is.
Yeah, it's Gordon. John, most improved player, Gordon.
Most improved player's got to be Gordon. Like Gaz just said there, when you look from last season to the levels, you know, in phases last season you've seen his brilliance, but then he would just be kind of hitty missy. But this season on a consistent level, to be at that level where you have to be up there to be an elite Premier League footballer at the top of your game, and rightly so, he's been called in the England squad. That man has just been absolutely fantastic, by the way, absolutely fantastic. And rightly so. So he's got the 3 top awards for me: Gordon, and rightly so, rightly so.
Oh, that's the end of the show, guys. Because the next question is Gordon. And Gordon. It's not. To be fair, though, it's not. We'll start with you, Ian. So, favorite home goal of the season?
Yeah, Joe Linton's goal against AC Milan in the Champions League.
Why that one?
Why that one? It was to. I've seen some great goals this season at St James's Park, mind right now. It was my son's first ever.
There we go.
Right, it was my son's first ever Champions League game at St James's, and what a goal for him to go away from there and just say what a goal that was. And the half volley what he put into that top corner, mate, was just absolutely fantastic. And at the time, Joe Linton was playing absolutely brilliant as well, by the way. And I just thought a great strike at home against him. My son was absolutely buzzing, and it was just it's one of them ones where it sticks in my mind, and rather than being probably the best goal that's been scored at St James's, that means something to me. That one, and as well, it wasn't just a tap in; it was an absolute mega, and it was
so for all of you who are struggling to translate what Ian's saying, he's saying Gordon against Liverpool at home. Go on, Dan.
No, I have to agree with Ian only because, and for me, it was arrogance isn't the right word, but it was the way in which he finished the belter of a goal and then just strode away. It was on par with Cantona with the just turning around and looking at Edward stand in the.
I was against Sunderland as well, wasn't it? When he kicked it into the top corner.
And it was Shears against Villa for Michael. Both hands up in the air. That was Joe Linton's moment. That was Big Joe's going. Yeah, I'd hit that. You see that? Yeah. I hit it, and it was brilliant. It was just that for me. I think it was the reaction for me, Ian. It was the way he just. Yeah, I did that. And there was no celebration. He just walked away. It was fantastic. Balls.
It meant now in the end, though.
I know.
Is that the one where he ran over to Eddie?
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. That was
the way he just strode out of the 18-yard box. It was just fantastic to watch.
It was
very good. Gary, your favorite goal?
I've been going back and forward between two. I'll deal with it when he brought the questions up. I think you've picked one of these, but I'm going to go for Shaw against PSG.
Good goal.
Oh yeah.
Icing on the cake goal, that one.
Purely based on the fact that he took the piss out of one of the best goalkeepers in the world with a shot. Mbappe's face, Mbappe's face when it went in. And his celebration when he just can't like that with his finger. The other goal that I'm picking Shaw. The other goal that I couldn't decide between that one and that one. I'm basing this on the fact that I dropped my phone when it went in, and it was Harvey Barnes' strike against West Ham.
Yeah, you obviously they were there. I wasn't.
Yeah,
4-3. That was an incredible game.
Harvey Barnes.
It was just not many people could finish that the way Harvey Barnes did it. And the minute he went for it, I thought this is going in. But it's short just for the occasion. First Champions League home game, and just watching Mbappe pissing down with rain on his head, looking at what the fuck happened.
What was going on?
It's just honestly just unbelievable.
John.
Well, I wrote down two of them,
Shock.
and there were so many. There were some that Dan and I got to see, like that Harvey Barnes one. That was great. But I loved it when Isak scored against Tottenham, and the defender was splayed out on the field. That was class.
Looked like the scene out of Breaking 2. Electric Boogaloo.
And somebody put it on Twitter, and they said Isak stealing souls out there.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites. And then the other one was when Willock saved it from going out of bounds and put it in the box, and Gordon put it in, and we beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
And they fussed about it the rest of the year. That was class. That was fun. That wasn't like an excellent goal. It was just a fun.
No, it's the occasion, isn't it? It's like the goal
fun
against Man United when Gordon tapped it in. It was just that relief that we actually finally scored and going to beat them. That was a great occasion as well. Dan, was yours the Joe Linton one? Or have you got a different one?
No, Joe Linton. Yeah,
Joe Linton one.
I agree with both Gary and Ian. It's both of those were special, and I still love Fab's explanation for why he continues to do the thing. He says it was never meant to be that when he scored his first one, but then he was walking down the street, and I want to say it was like in in Wallsend or something like that, and a little old lady was driving by. But I mean, a little old lady was driving by, and as she walked by, she's rolled down the window and did this to Fabs, and Fabs was like, okay, if the people are doing it, then I got to keep doing it. So that was my
Love it. See, mine was it was the PSG game, but mine's actually Miggy's goal, the first one.
The first one.
That just set the ball rolling, and the atmosphere. Because obviously, I was lucky enough to be there. And Baz, it was just unreal.
Baz, do you know, if you look back at that goal, right, and if you go to the BT highlights, right, and you've got Fletcher McCoist, and when obviously we'll have the shot in that's doing the pubs, it goes out to Miggy. And Miggy puts it in, and Fletcher's Newcastle United have liftoff in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Watch that back, right, and you'll still get your hairs on your arms.
Goosebumps, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And it was like the importance of that goal made us, we were back, right? Yeah. Right. That goal was so important, Baz, and you're 100% right. And obviously the result spoke for itself, and we just thought, you know what it is, we belong here. So it was a great call, that one, mate.
Honestly, it was just amazing. What's this? Hi, guys. Can I just say something? I've seen a lot of Twitter, Instagram players won't join Newcastle because we don't have you. Bollocks. People don't come to a football club to join the Europa Conference League. All right? It's a very low graded cup. So it's lower than the Carabao Cup. I'd rather win the Carabao Cup than the Europa League Conference. So it's a load of rubbish. Of course it is.
The one thing I'll say that come.
Go on.
I would say the one thing I'll say that come is is basically players come not just for Europe, they come because the Premier League is a global league that everybody wants to play.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't
now
forget Bruno,
we got Bruno because of the Premier League. Now
don't forget
we will buy Tonali came as well.
Yeah.
And the Premier League is massive.
The season for the Champions League.
Sorry,
Tonali was the only one. So the Barnes.
The Premier League is massive. It's a massive league, and look at what Wolves have done. Wolves have signed some players that you would look and go, where they come?
Oh, they got in.
And it's like it happened. Players want to get to the Premier League, and they will sign for Bournemouth to do that, and then they'll get their move, and they will do it. And we don't buy elite players. I've said this time and again. We do not buy elite. We turn them into elite. That's what Eddie Howe has said time and again. I will buy players and turn them into superstars.
Yeah,
and that's what he said. And we're not going to go out and buy Florian Wirtz. It's not going to happen. But what we'll do is we'll buy somebody we're going to turn into Florian Wirtz.
Hey, I would think some right winger out there would love to be feeding Isak goals, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You've got to think of the place who you're going to be playing with. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Favorite away goal, John?
Oh, gosh, you'd stump me on that one. I'm sorry. That one I'm going to turn it over to somebody else.
I'll give John one. I'll give him Lewis Hall's goal against Man United in the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's
the volley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then my favorite. So I gave John that one. Mine was Hall's volley against Man United, the consolation goal in the
the strike from outside the box.
Both of those goals away for those two for those to be his first two goals for the club, both against MU, both at Old Trafford. That there you go.
That's big.
Because of the way I hate manure. You know, I'll say it every other way, so I don't say what we are. We are the United. For me, it was Lewis Hall's both goals against Man U at Old Trafford. Those are my favorite away goals. Done deal.
All right, good goals, great goals. Mine's in that game as well. Gary?
I'm a bit of a sucker for like power shots in anger. I find that like Shearer's free kick at home to Leicester and stuff like that. I'm going by Jacob Murphy against Chelsea. Yeah, Jacob Murphy against Chelsea.
Yes, that was a hit.
When he just hit it out of pure anger. He literally hit it out of pure anger. And I was going to pick Hall as well, but obviously I want to mix it up a bit. And Murphy, I remember when he hit it in there when I went, bloody hell. And yeah, I'm going to go for that one.
The keeper didn't even move, did he?
No, he couldn't.
Ian, what about yours?
Anthony Gordon against Sheffield United away.
Got that on here.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
No, there was 8 of them.
My favourite away goal was Joe Willock's against Manchester United in the Cup.
Yeah.
I just thought the build-up play in that goal was absolutely fantastic, right? And the way he just slotted it past that, and he slid into that bottom corner onto his knees. I thought it was just a fantastic goal. And Joe Willock was just coming back at that point, and I thought,
yes, he was.
we were all desperate for Joe Willock to come back, and we were saying we want that Joe Willock back. And when we're seeing that performance, not just from Joe Willock on that night, but everybody around that performance in that cup game away, that was the standout goal for me. Just because on that night, Joe Willock's running off the ball, he was fantastic. And just to top it off with a goal like that, I just thought it was a brilliant performance and a brilliant goal. So I went for Joe Willock away at that one. I just thought it was a brilliant finish. That's
fair enough. I went for Miggy at Old Trafford.
How come there's been everybody goes? It's the percentage of goals has been at Old Trafford. And so, what kind of direction are we going in here, guys? You know what I mean?
We're just like beating Man United at Old Trafford.
It's the emotion behind
because we hate them bastards or what? Come on.
Well, for me, the reason why I've given it to Miggy, it's not because of Miggy scoring the goal, it's because of Tino's build-up play. Yeah. The way he took the ball from the right-hand side in his own half, took on 3 players, and then coolly, calmly slotted Miggy in, and Miggy took a bit of a dodgy touch, but then he slid and smashed it in the far corner. It was just brilliant. And that started the riot, didn't it?
Yeah. That was one of Miggy's best games of the season, and it was because he was on the left wing. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that. Because he's not right-footed, and he can do much more on the left. He can. And
but no, he's not right-footed.
And
yeah, we do.
I think we get told about 1 million times on Twitter on a game day that Miggy doesn't have a right foot when he's playing.
No, state the obvious.
I know, but you are right, Gary. It was Tino's run was unbelievable, and the way that he ran through the heart of my United's midfield, it was just brilliant. And it was just the pass as well, the cool and calmness to slot him in. It was brilliant. I've been spending too much time catching them all. What we got next? Favorite home game, John?
Tottenham. Favorite home game, Tottenham.
The home game. We've done goals without doing games.
Home game. Sorry.
Yeah, the Tottenham game, and it was the way we took care of them, and then it was, of course, the kids with the RNID. I thought that was just a big highlight for the year. So I picked that one, favorite home game. Now there were 2 that I was at that were fantastic. I was with one with Dan at West Ham. That was a fantastic comeback. That was a good game. And then earlier in the year, we beat Chelsea at home.
4-1, yeah.
Come to think of it, the next home game we won, we beat Man United 1-0.
1-0. Yeah.
All of those were great games, but Tottenham really took it for me.
Yeah, it's nice beating Spurs and the way we beat them as well, because it was kind of like trying to bridge that gap again and try and catch Tottenham if we could. Obviously, we didn't, but we should have. It's frustrating. Dan?
It has to be the comeback against West Ham, simply because for emotional reasons we were there. We got to see it. We were sitting in bar 1892. We just and Barnes scoring both of those goals in the Gallagate right in front of us. Yeah, that was, for me, that was it.
I love it, Gary.
I mean, PSG is a strong second. If I hadn't been in St. James's Park for the West Ham game, I would have picked PSG. Absolutely. But
I'm going to see if anyone else mentions a game that we haven't mentioned yet. But Gary, go on.
I might change it up a bit, right? Because I was going to say PSG purely based on the fact that the build-up to it, the game, they put that light show on and I could see it outside my bedroom and stuff like that. I'm going to go Arsenal there too.
Yeah,
because that was
been
the
mentioned.
day. That was the day we completely upset them bastards.
Yeah.
And you know what is? All I've heard is you cost us the title, you cost us 3 points. The game was 0-0 at the time when
They
that
had one shot on
so-called
target in the whole
yeah,
game.
they had one shot on target. But you know why I like that? Bruno telling him to get up. That day, Newcastle fought from minute 1 to the 90th minute to beat them. And do you know what it is? I've never seen a more determined performance to beat a team than them this season. And the fact that it was a controversial goal and Arteta was whinging at the end of it. And I was jumping for joy. And that's the game they blame for the title. And
I know, it's crazy. If they could count, they would understand it wasn't.
And it's just the whole game. I thought were brilliant that day. We didn't let Arsenal breathe, and it was just a fantastic performance. It's my favourite game.
Love it. Ian?
Yeah, I was stuck between two. Obviously, the PSG game was just the atmosphere before the game. I was at the ground probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours before, and I've never seen anything like it there for a long, long time, mind. And everything that was built up, obviously, it was the first time as well where we had away fans to that extent of ultras coming. The atmosphere around the place was just unbelievable. It was a warm night, you know what I mean? I mean, the performance on the night was absolutely fantastic. But I think our home game of the season, first game of the season against Aston Villa.
Hey, someone's mentioned it. That was the one I was thinking. No,
that was great.
The first game of the season against Aston Villa, right? And I seen a man have a home debut in a black and white shirt, mind, and I've never seen somebody. He was absolutely exceptional in Tonali, and he was just brilliant on that day. And the result, do you know what it is? That result on that day was not that scoreline. Aston Villa were fantastic, by the way. Newcastle were fantastic. It had everything about that. What we were going to set, it just, to me, it sent so many. If we had that squad for the rest of the season, it sent so many directions of what we could potentially do going forward with that group of players. But the standout for me, and what drove me absolutely crackers for weeks and weeks and weeks until unfortunately got banned, that I said earlier in the show that this man cannot play with these players. Bruno can't play with these type of players. You're fucking kidding me, aren't you? This guy, right, is an absolute international, world-class footballer that's just came from an under-21 international captain from Italy, and to come to a country where you can tell he wasn't settled at the time, but to put a performance like that on, God almighty, come on. That day for me was just absolutely special. And you've got to remember the bench that we had that day that came on, the atmosphere of the day, the performance on the day, everything about that game, mate, was just absolutely tremendous. And that one stood out like a sore thumb for me right throughout the season.
You know, the funny thing is as well, is Sir Alex Ferguson said Villa played really well today.
But they did.
And we were like, what? You seen the scoreline? And he went, Villa will do very well this season.
Do you know,
and we all laughed. And
well.
he was fucking right.
You know,
and you were right.
And a lot of that game, mind, I spent watching Diaby, right? And simply because the interest we had in Diaby for 2 seasons. And I thought, what a threat this kid is. And imagine if he was on that side instead of Almiron. And and if we had if Tonali sitting in that midfield and we had Diaby on that, what a threat we would be. Yeah. And do you know, on that day, Diaby was a right handful, man. He scored a good goal. But overall, I just thought that game was special. And it was a great start to the season, especially Tonali. One of the best home debuts I've seen in a black and white shirt.
Yeah. Very good.
I didn't see that game.
Did you not?
It's the only game I've missed this season, and I missed it because I was in Spain on holiday.
How dare you?
Me and the Ben went to the pub to go and watch it, and they couldn't get a freaking signal.
Find another pub?
Yeah.
Well, we tried, and there was nothing on. They had Man City on at the time, and I thought, I can't do this. And I missed that
every
game.
time I go away, I always find a pub on the first day, and I go in and I say, right, I'm from Newcastle, and I want the Newcastle game on Saturday. Are you going to put it on? If you're not, you won't get any of my money for the next 4 days. That's
it.
how you do it. Just as we're talking about, Calais comes back. Yeah, I've gone PSG just because it was the first game back in the Champions League and it was just a special atmosphere. But the Villa game was exceptional.
Yes.
The Chelsea game was fantastic as well, deserves a mention. Putting them to the sword 4-1 on the way. Gordon put Silva on his ass and just laughed at him. I thought it was excellent. You know, there were so many standouts. Man United, Arsenal, you know, they were all great. But yeah, PSG was just that little bit extra special. And it was under lights in the dark and all that sort of stuff. You know what St James's Park is like in the night. Right, Ian.
Pissing down rain as well.
Here's a quick question for all of you. Who's the best team you've seen at St James's Park this season?
Team that's coming.
Who has been the best team you've seen at St James's Park this season?
City.
Dortmund for me.
Dortmund were brilliant. Yeah, Dortmund. Yeah, to be fair.
Borussia Dortmund was mine. John, who's yours?
The best team that came in.
The best
team came to St James's Park.
It would be Dortmund for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, that was class.
Yeah, they are just
organized.
Nullified our attack, didn't they? Completely.
Brilliant.
I've never seen a team like they came into quiet Newcastle's crowd and they did it because they did it brilliant.
Yeah, we were so nervous that day as well because we knew if we'd won, we'd potentially be through to the next round, and it was such a big game.
I've never seen it organized team going forward, brilliant. Just everything about them was just
that's
fantastic.
The thing about it. You just sit back in awe and watch because they were wonderful.
I'm telling you now, Real Madrid have got one tough game coming up next week against them. They are not going to roll over for anybody then. And if anybody can beat Real Madrid, it's Dortmund.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I agree with that. All right, we've got two more left. Ian, favourite away game?
Well, this one's the custard pie one, mate, if you remember rightly.
Yes, I do.
Aston Villa were absolutely flying, and we had a show just before, and I says we'll get nothing at Aston Villa, and we went away and we absolutely battered them.
Yeah.
Fabian Schär was absolutely tremendous on the night. Scored two absolute great goals. Jacob Murphy scored like a half, but the build-up play was great. Was kind of an own goal. We beat them 3-1. I just thought the away game that was at that present time where our away form was pretty poor. Aston Villa were flying. That was a standout for me. And Aston Villa weren't the same for a long, long time at home after we beat them. So it really hurt them. So that was my one.
It's a good one. Gary?
I agree with Ian with Villa, but you can't beat beating the Mackhams on the round ground.
Oh, that was mine. Oh, that was mine.
Literally, the build-up to try Hume's going to destroy Anthony Gordon. Bruno's not going to get a touch. Joe Linton's not going to know what's hit him.
Yeah.
The Newcastle players, they don't know what they're walking into. A cauldron of noise, and we've just been to Dortmund and PSG, and we've played the easiest derby in history at Sunderland, where we're pissed all over them.
3-0.
Don't forget the red tinsel display that they put on.
Yeah,
Exactly. The WorFlags, the build-up where they had Peter Reid's monkey seed in the flaming bar, everything.
Yeah, we took over their bar.
It was, if you could sum two clubs up that week, the difference between Newcastle and Sunderland that week was just, it just showed through.
The owner allowed that to happen. That's the
Yeah.
best of it off.
Yeah.
Just a Mickey Mouse football club, and the fact that we absolutely destroyed them on their own ground. We never got out of second gear, and it was just a joy to watch. And what made it even better was the defender fell over. Miggy played it across, and Isak put it in after 46 minutes, and they just thought, oh, for sake, can we just go home?
And for about 2 weeks, they were celebrating a challenge, weren't they, on Miley?
Oh, yeah.
Not
over a 17-year-old.
It was 3-0 at the time, and O'Neill made that tackle, and he's going around going, look what I've just done, and all that, and I'm thinking, you're 3-0 down, you pillock. And it's just like, it was just a joy to watch. You cannot beating them. especially on their own turf.
Yeah.
The way it was up the season, Mackems decorating their own, but that was brilliant. That, and they actually leaked. It got leaked. If it didn't get leaked, they might have got away with it. But because it got leaked, it was just like, hey, they're open arms to us. They want us here. We're gonna earn more money across the bar in one game than they will all season from those Muppets. I love it. Dan, what was yours?
For me, again, it's the emotional and the statistician part of me. It has to be away at Bramall Lane.
8-0.
8 different scorers.
Yeah, that was
the fact that we put 8 past them is one thing on their own ground, but the fact that it was 8 different scorers for the first time in Premier League history, that was fantastic for me.
And it was brilliant, wasn't it? The Arsenal fans who came up because they scored 8, didn't they? Against someone, and they said, "Oh, we're the first team to score 8 with 8 different scorers." Like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, right.
You've got an own goal in there, so you've only really got 7 scorers. And we kind of did it like a few months ago against Sheffield United, or does that game not count?
Yep. Yeah, it's again the statistician part of me is just like we were the first one to do it, and I was and we were in a hotel room in Oakland when we were watching. I just remember waking up that morning. I was kind of nervous and everything. Mrs. was when she woke up at halftime. All of a sudden, it was like, "So what's the score?" And I said 3-0, but it could be more. And then the second half just
bang.
Yep.
It was brilliant.
Yep.
And the other stat that we got this season is we equaled the most individual scorers in the season. I thought we'd beat it when Lewis Hall scored at Old Trafford, but no, we've equaled it, which I was gutted about. It's a shame we didn't get that penalty against Brentford and let someone like Anderson take it or Dubravka take it, so we could have beat the record and had 21 different scores. Was it 22 to have the record? I can't remember now. I think it was 21 equal and 22 to break it.
Baz, didn't we also set a record for most goals scored in a season for us? For
us, yes. 85, wasn't it?
Just think if our defense and midfield had been all together this year, with all the goal scoring we had. Oh boy, we could have been something.
We did break the record of scoring the most goals and not getting into Europe.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That just shows you how unlucky we probably were, because just. Do you know what it is? It's little margins for me, because I truly believe if Nick Pope hadn't got injured, we would be in Europe right now. But that's just
we'd probably be in the
top
4 right now. And Nick Pope hadn't got
and
you're right there.
I mean, having a goalkeeper who's letting goals in the middle of his flaming goal at times, it's just like, what can you do? What can anybody do? And it is what it is. But
it is what it is. It's done. It's finished. Right, John. Favorite away performance? Is yours Sunderland as well?
Yes, it was. I'm not going to say any more. We'll move on to the next one. That was I didn't think anybody would pick that one, so I picked that one. I thought that was a good away.
No, you can't beat them. you can't beat beating them. Honestly, you can't. Especially when they drivel on for it 2 weeks about how we're going to destroy you. You're going to be terrified, and
Bruno's
that waving that bin bags at the beginning. But the funny thing was, the white flags were silver, which didn't make any sense.
The tinsel boys, man.
Yeah, it was silver, and it was Sunderland to a T. Honestly, it was. From minute one at the beginning of the week.
From Blade there, we got the record for most goals scored by subs in a season. Kind of puts the Eddie Doubters in their place when they question his substitutes. So it just shows you he does change a game from the bench. But there are games where we ourselves, we questioned the subs at times. But again, that's why he gets paid the big bucks, because he does make those decisions.
Managers make mistakes. Eddie's made mistakes this season. He'll hold his hands up. Pep made mistakes yesterday. He changed his 2 defenders for some bizarre reason. Didn't play Diaz, and
I know why he did that. Is because Man United weren't playing the strikers, so he thought he could get away with playing more ball-playing defenders than having centre backs. It didn't work.
Went down like a shit sandwich. Even the best managers make mistakes. Klopp's done it. You name it, and it's how you learn from them mistakes.
Exactly.
That's what makes you a good manager.
Yeah, definitely. It's what separates the average to the elite. My favourite away game, Villa was right up there, I have to admit, because that was fantastic. So was the Sheffield United game. But do you know what is the last game of the season for me was our one of our best performances, especially first half performances. The first 45 minutes was absolutely fantastic. And it was I know it was the last game of the season. You might think Brentford were on the beach, but they certainly showed us when they came back in the second half, they weren't just on the beach. We just put them to the sword. And the pressure was on us because we had to win that game. So that's why Brentford was, and Brentford's a very hard place to go to and win as well. So I think that was probably my favourite away performance.
I was just about to say that is, you've got to be a good team to beat Brentford at home.
Yeah.
Right. Because I know they didn't have the season that they wanted and stuff like that. But I've watched Brentford a few times. Man United at home, Man City, they gave a game at home. Arsenal, they only lost 1-0 to. They're not easy to play against at home. And
no, definitely not even close to being easy.
It shows how good we can be.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because it's been a very, very frustrating season for me because the injuries and stuff like that, and we should have picked more points up than we did, and what ifs. But you can't deny we're a good side. We actually are a good side.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to see what proper first team.
Well, we don't know what the proper first team's going to be next season.
I'm
new signings as well. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for next season already, especially with Kelly joining. Hopefully, Mamadashvili, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I probably got it wrong again. Him joining, then you've got like potentially a strike. I know this Dominic Calvert-Lewin stuff's going around. It's a bit of a weird one. But the right wing, that's what I want to see. I want to see what we do there because I think we're signing the 2 frees and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the cheap is going to give us 70 to 80 million to spend on a right forward because they did say they're going to break the record transfer fee for a player. So I think that's where the money's going.
Well, people have been asking me, if we sell Wilson, we're going to need to buy 2 strikers, and I said we're not. I said Eddie's already confirmed Gordon can play up front, and he said that at the beginning of the season. So he will buy, if he sells Wilson, he will buy a striker, and Gordon will be the third if needed, and that's what I think Eddie will do. I know this is a different show and all that. I don't understand Calvert-Lewin.
I do in a way because he's kind of like the Chris Wood, the lump up front, to change to play in a different dimension, to have 3 strikers that offer something different.
Yeah,
because you're not going to find a complete player. We don't have a Haaland in our team. We have an unbelievable talent in Isaac. Then you've got Wilson, who's that quick, plays on the shoulder and scores goals. But we don't have that lump you can actually throw the ball up to and hold it up and keep it. So that's where I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes in. And he'd be very cheap because apparently he's trying to run down his contract. So if you throw them 3 together...
He's got a year left, apparently.
Yeah. So if you throw them 3 together as options, and that's only cost you 15 million, 20 million for him, it's costing you 30 to 35 million for the keeper. So that's 60 million spent. Your left back and Kelly, left centre back, left back, and then also Tosan. They're free transfers, so they're just costing you wages and a signing on fee. That leaves us with a big chunk of money to spend on a right forward. And that could be very exciting because that's where Bowen comes back into the picture because it will cost us 70 to 80 million to sign a Jared Bowen. And maybe that's their whole thinking about being cheap in certain areas while still getting good players in, Premier League proven. And then you go out and spend massive on the right forward.
And then generate whatever funds you can from sales. You sell off Target, you sell off
Fraser. Jamal Lewis, Hendricks gone, Hayden goes, Dubravka potentially,
I think, look...
The wages alone, right? The wages alone of Fraser,
Target,
Hendricks, Target, Fraser, and
Jamal Lewis.
Right, you're talking £325,000 a week with them players. £325,000, right? Now, Tosan will come in on big wages. Kelly will come in on decent wages as well, by the way. But if you're potentially going to sign a player, like we've had discussions with the lad from Manchester City, right? Now, you sign a player where you sign them on a decent transfer fee of £80,000, the wages then become up to £200,000 mark. When that's the type of players what we need to get in, by the way. So if things don't work out when you come to sell them, they still have a massive profit when you sell them, i.e. 50, 60 million, but the massive wages come off the wage bill, right? And that's what the likes of what they've signed when Sterling went from Manchester City to Chelsea. It went for 55 million, but his wages came off the budget, which it's so much attracted to us. But the players that we've got floating about that are nowhere near this football club are on ridiculous wages. So we need to get top players in on good signing on fees, but are on decent wages. Where if things don't work out, this club can benefit from passing these players on or moving these players on. Like look at how long we've held on to Fraser and Hayden and these players that are on ridiculous wages, but they come with such a low transfer fee.
We weren't holding on to them. They're just no one can afford them.
Nobody's attracted to buy them, Baz, because the transfer fee's okay, but the wages what comes along with them is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So we need to get the balance right where this player's so attractive to get them that the wages just automatically just go with them. So that's what we've got to go with. So that's going forward. We need to do that.
Yeah. And don't forget, we're also going to lose Dummett's wages. You're also going to lose Richie's wages, which will probably only equate to about 60k.
Did he have?
Richie came for 10.5 million from Bournemouth.
Yeah.
To track Matt Ritchie to come up here, he'll be on £75,000 a week. I'll guarantee you that now. Coming from Bournemouth,
40, maybe 40 to 50.
He'll be on more than that. I'll tell you now.
Did you have the news tonight?
Go on
then. Southampton are going to buy Fraser.
Well,
yeah, I've heard that could happen. I don't think it was an option to buy or anything like that.
It came from Southampton. Apparently, he did play in the game that day.
He did, yeah. Didn't do much.
But
Matt
apparently they're going to buy
45,000 a week.
45.
And then Dummett.
It's people like Matt Target, who's on apparently £100,000 a week. I mean,
but if you add them all together, it's a massive amount of money that we're going to be get. We're looking at maybe £400,000 a week freed up if we get rid of all these players. Paul Dummett weekly wages 35. So that's £80,000 a week on those two players alone that are leaving. You said how much was it? 225,000 or 325,000? You said
325.
325. Then you add that. That's £400,000 a week that could be freed up in wages.
Yeah,
and that could be potentially 4 players on $100,000 a week.
That's massive.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, huge.
Massive. And like you say, you're putting your wages in trust of players that can play at the top level, not the championships, not a championship player. That's it. Exactly. That's the road we've got to go down.
But I'm going to be doing all the maths for Tuesday night, so we can find out how much money we're going to save and all this sort of stuff. So don't you worry, we'll talk about that. Let's get to the final question because we've been on for quite a while, and I apologise for keeping everyone so long. Ian, favourite moment of the season?
Yeah. I spoke about this one on the show, mate, and it was the Spurs game at home for so many different reasons. It didn't even matter about the result to me on that day. It was the RNID day, mate, and it was the club that reached out to these special kids and the families that was involved in it, and it just for our club to do that, to be the first club ever to do something like that, it was just remarkable. And when I was there, like I've said on shows before, it just grabbed a hold of us in so many ways that it meant so much to them people. And to see the smiles on the kids' faces, to get interactions from that game for what we did to them, to have that experience was just a remarkable thing for the club to do, and even remarkable for them, the kids, to feel that and to be such a part of that day. And it goes to show how much that meant, because still to this day on, it always gets brought up, and there's still so many people out there still talk about it. And obviously, you're in contact with the parents and stuff, and we've raised money for the charity, etc., etc. And that, for me, you cannot top. It doesn't matter what football result comes to that. That day, to that kids, it was just special. If we got beat 8-0, I don't care, right? The results take care of itself. What that meant to people in person, it was special. And for me, that can't be beat in my eyes.
Good one. Gary?
I 100% agree with you, and that's what I had written down. It was, what can you say? It gathered headlines as well after the game. Opposition fans were praising it on Twitter and everything like that, saying we need to do something like this. And I think another standout moment for me as well was Anthony Gordon, what he did. I just think these little things are just footballers. Some footballers don't understand how much they make kids' days by just doing little things like they do. And they're just, I mean, look, we love them, but kids worship them.
Yeah.
And just going to see a child who is, like, he's in hospital and seeing his hero is just something. I mean, it gets me thinking back to when I was 7 and what I would have been like if Shearer had walked through the door.
Yeah.
And it's just, honestly, it must be something else for the kids. And that day at Tottenham at home was just special, especially the celebration what Dan Burn did.
Yeah.
When Dan Burn went the corner and did what he did, it was just, honestly,
I'm not doing it because I do it the wrong way and I get it wrong.
Oh God, it was just unbelievable from the club. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
it was. Dan, is yours the same?
Unanimous. It's just, yep. The looks on those kids' faces. It's a shame BBC ignored the fact that we did all that and they talked about how poor Spurs were that day.
Yeah.
How about the event itself, you bastards?
Yeah.
You know,
sorry, a big thing to Seller as well for what they did when they said you can sponsor the shirt that day as well. It just, you know what it is? Mike Ashley wouldn't have done anything like that.
Oh no.
Nothing. He wouldn't have even entertained it, and if he did, he would have put Sports Direct on the front of the shirt for the he would have made it like something about Sports Direct. What that club did that day was unbelievable.
Gary, Freddie Shepherd wouldn't have done it.
No,
100%, because they just cared about themselves.
Yep.
Whereas Owen was trying to make money, of course, though, but I genuinely believe that they're all thinking of a bigger picture and they do care. They do care. They wouldn't go out and do what they do. And
Agreed.
It was just fantastic that day. And I think it was Sky or some channel did give it a lot of prep. No shock with BBC not seeing anything about it, and he shocked there at all. But it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed that they didn't say anything, to be fair, but it's one of those things, isn't it? John, you're the same as well, aren't you?
I've got two thoughts, but the first one, of course, I'm going to say what Ian said, because I was sitting there at home wiping tears away, and that was because not only did we have the time to put in to work with the kids beforehand, put this event together, but then the club on the pitch came through with 4 goals and just made the kids so happy. And it was, I thought it should be broadcast worldwide. It was that big. And I was just like Dan. I was disappointed that it wasn't like the big story everywhere, you know? But it was beautiful. That was the moment for the year. And then the other moment that I would say is second to that was when I just dropped what I was doing with my life and rushed over there to be at the first match after Ashley was out. The victory over PSG said to the world, the football world, we have arrived and look out for us. So that was the second moment for me, is when we trashed them at home And really, we beat them at their place too. You never tell me that we didn't beat them, but I'll try to let that go.
It's a hard one to let go, isn't it? But we have done well not to mention it like Arsenal for like 365 days after getting beat 1-0 against.
Yeah, I'll try not to be that guy. But
if I had to pick something that a player did during the game, I would pick Bruno's celebration with a corner flag.
Yes, that was good. Yeah.
And I thought, fantastic. Can you imagine doing that in the Gallagher? Just unbelievable.
I can beat that. Bruno dry humping Joe Linton in his wedding. That's the better one than that.
Oh God, I have seen that.
They have a special bond then too. They really do.
Hell, he's not right.
Too special.
No, he's not. Actually, funny enough, that Tottenham game as well. I'm sure that was the game Bruno went up the Tottenham player and went like that to him and went 4-0.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was that game because there was commotion at the end of the game, and I'm sure it was Bruno involved.
Yeah, it was Bruno. It's always Bruno involved.
It's always Bruno involved. No, you'd say that was Bruno.
He's ill.
He
knew he wasn't going to get a yellow card, so
he fits in with us, didn't he? Like he absolutely fits in. Oh, 100% he fits in.
If you remember when Joe Linton's Ben had a birthday, he says, "Happy birthday, you little bastard."
Yeah.
He's sending the kids birthday wishes saying, "Happy birthday, you little bastard." He's not right, man.
No, he's class. Honestly, he's class.
Oh man. Yeah, mate, we're all good. Thanks for joining us a little bit late because we're nearly finished, but you made it eventually. Increasing that, you little bastard.
He did. I've never seen it.
He probably doesn't even know what it means. That's the funny thing about it.
He put a love heart at the end of it.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of us.
Hey, Baz,
he definitely is.
Hey, Baz, another few moments that were magical to me is every moment that I was with Ian and you and Dan.
I was going to say, why was I mentioned second in that list?
Well, because I have fun with all you guys. It was great.
There we go.
It was great.
And we're already planning for next season. So
you bet.
Yes, can't wait. Next season is going to be huge. I can't wait for you to come over again. So, moment, like I think everyone's mentioned the Spurs game, but obviously the Everton game, being there for the Man United Chelsea game with you guys being there. Well, John being there, obviously Dan wasn't. They were all special moments. Meeting Ian in the pub for the first time was brilliant after his operation as well, and everything's gone well with that, which is amazing.
That's why I mentioned him first.
Yeah, I love it. But one of the things I'm really proud of for the channel side of things is we've donated and raised. Obviously, I'm putting raised in there because we didn't, hand the money over. But we've raised £870.50 this year so far for charities. There's lots of different things we're giving money to, but obviously the Stanley Deaf Club is the one that has received the most because we forced Sue to set up a Just Giving page, and we flogged the deaf out of it to try and get as much money as possible for them. And then obviously we donated quite a bit of money to it as well, which I'm very proud of all you guys being involved with and helping to push that. So that's been an amazing achievement. Looking forward to see what it is by the end of it. What's this? Go to Manchester United, throw away the name and worthless. I'm sure some bits there. Casemiro, come on, put up with that. I've got no idea what you're trying to say, but there we go. Who cares? So that's quite a proud moment. I mean, for the channel in total, I think we're over $2,000 now, quite easily. To be fair, 800 plus 1, 2. Yeah, we're over $2,000. We've given away so in 2.5 years I've been doing this. I think we've managed to donate over £2,000 to charities, which I think is amazing.
Bravo!
So bravo to everyone who's involved. It's amazing, and we'll carry it on again until the end of the year and going into next season, which I'm looking forward to. Don't forget, Tuesday night we're going to have our first transfer show of the summer, and Will, who is a decent account on Twitter. I mean, we've known Will for a while because he's in our banter group and he's been giving us a lot of information for a long time. So it's great that he's decided to put himself out there. He does spaces which are amazing on Twitter, but he's not going to show his face because it's the mystery of who he is. but he will be on the show on Tuesday night. So really looking forward to doing that. And just have a look out for all our little daily news things. I've been really enjoying doing these little videos and having the interaction with everyone and about, who's coming, who's not going, and all that sort of stuff as well. And he's fucking staying.
Yeah.
End of. Bruno will be a player for Newcastle next season. Unless something really, really weird happens. Whoa.
Shout out there. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ian, for that. That will go into the pot. And by the end of the year, we'll hopefully have some more money for the Stanley Deaf Club or other things we don't even know yet. But that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Nice one, all involved. Hit the thumbs up on the hit the thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. And again, you don't even have to donate for this channel to donate money, because if you watch the show and it gets enough views and enough thumbs up, it generates money through the adverts, and then all the profit we put them into a pot, and then we'll decide where it goes. So that's another way of helping out. If you can't afford to donate or become a member, there's always ways of helping. Thanks for the excellent show tonight, everyone on the panel, everyone on the chat. Looking forward to the next one Tuesday night. I would recommend not using YouTube tips, by the way. YouTube tips. What's that for? You have to tell me about that. Oh, yeah, they do. They take 30%. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, we don't use YouTube to use 30% of everything that comes out. I think it's 1% that Just Giving. That's why we got Sue to set up a Just Giving page, because we wanted people to go to that instead, and then they'll get more money for it. So that's what we're trying to do. And yes, you guys are going to tell me when you're coming over next. We're waiting for the fixtures to come out for next season. You're going to be targeting a double header at home, buddy, which normally happens around October, November, December time.
Yeah.
Once we've got that nailed down, we are looking to do a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Something.
Don't give the whole thing
something.
away.
No, we've got lots of things that we need to do, but we need to make sure we get a double header at home. And then you guys will be over, and then we'll start to work out what we're going to do, and then we'll announce it all.
Sounds great. We look forward to it.
I love it. Any last words from everyone on the season before we go?
It was great. It was actually a good season, but it was painful at times, but it was good. We did okay. We did all right.
This is the only thing that matters.
That's it. That's it.
He's fucking staying. I'm not leaving.
Can't wait to see who comes in. Can't wait to see who goes out. So yes, that'll be exciting stuff. I'm like I said months ago I'd give up Europe if we finished above Man U, and we did. And
we did.
I'm happy about that, and I'm already looking forward for next season. Especially Isak, Gordon, Tonali, Bruno. Bring it. Let's go. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. Right. I'll speak to you all again very soon. Thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in. Thank you for that donation. Yeah, that will go to a good cause, I promise you. And we'll see you again very, very soon.